Thank you. I welcome all of you for the candidates joining the integrative course, certificate course. It's going to be a 6-month journey, which from the feedback that we received last year was very much a learning experience for the students. I hope it will be the same for all of you. So as Dr. Hemant explained, the program today has primarily 2 objectives. One is to welcome all of you to the certificate course in integrative medicine, which was a
Hemant, I'm not able to hear properly. It is getting cut. Your voice is getting cut.
No, it won't move. It won't move. Sir, are you able to hear us now, sir? Is the audio better now, Guruji?
Problem or their problem?
Is it better, sir? Is this better? Audio, is it better?
Other course participants, are you able to hear us?
Others cannot. Just raise your hand if others are able to hear. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. So we'll have.
Okay. So it might also be a small problem at your end, Guruji, because the other participants are able to hear. So maybe the audio there is something happening. So welcome all of you. And as part of the certificate course, we will have people from 2 institutes. This actually, I was saying that this certificate course is a brainchild of NIMHANS, along with SVYASA University, which is the first university in India to exclusively in the field of yoga. It's a deemed university now, and it has been leading the training and research field in yoga for a long time. So we have 2 institutes have come together to sort of do this course, and all of you will have some exposure to both NIMHANS and SVYASA physically also as part of this course. So we welcome all of you. The second agenda, of course, is the conference, which you will hear more about, which is happening in November. So I'm very happy to welcome Chancellor of SVYASA, Guruji, who has been a mentor to most of us here. I think Didi is there.
Yes.
Yes.
I can see Didi also.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Namaste, Didi. Very happy to see you here. Dr. Nagaratna has been a clinical mentor to many of us, as well as a member of the institutional body of NIMHANS for a long time. So we are very happy that she is here. In addition, of course, we also have Professor Gangadhar, who was the person who started yoga services in NIMHANS with the inspiration from Dr. D. Nagaraja, who was the director of NIMHANS when it started in 2007. And Dr. Gangadhar was the director when this department started. Currently, he is a professor emeritus in the department, as well as carrying out his responsibility in the National Medical Council. So we are all very happy to have this occasion, and I hope to see you when we all take the classes. I hope that you will all be able to attend the course in the entirety and meet us all in the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shivram sir. Now, I request our BNG sir to kindly give the presidential address on this occasion.
Pranams to my teacher, Dr. Nagendra ji, and Dr. Nagaratna Didi. Best wishes to the department represented by Dr. Kishore Kumar, Professor of Ayurveda in the Department of Integrative Medicine at NIMHANS, and other colleagues of the department here, and most importantly, all the distinguished trainees who have gotten into this course, which is now going to be conducted by the 2 universities. NIMHANS is also, incidentally, also a university, although it's called an institute of national importance. By virtue of that status, it gives its own degrees and recognizes them, and so on and so forth. So this is a very, very golden moment that the second batch has now been inducted into training, and the last batch responses were quite positive, and that there have been a overwhelming numbers of people who wanted to undergo this training. Is a testimony to perhaps the word of mouth of spread of what the experiences from the previous batch could have been as well. At the end of the certificate course, you will develop and acquire skills of applying yoga and Ayurveda in terms of some of your practices, if not everything. The whole idea is not that we are going to let some people come up with a separate, different, distinguished professional, but a professional who will have had, who will possess higher levels of skills in integrative medicine, and also will know where are the times, which are the situations when this can be recommended to the patient population whom you would be seeing in your clinics. So two objectives are expected. Some simple skills which you can pick up can be used to augment the services that you are offering, which many of us are trained here in that way. You will also receive those skills for purposes of subsequent application. The second issue is that you will also develop the skills to recognize which of those subjects who will benefit from integrative approaches. And you will also hear a little more in the introduction talk today about what is integrative medicine. I'll come to that a little later. Suffice to say that you are all very privileged, and I congratulate each one of you for having enrolled into this course. Wish you all the best, and we'll work together to propagate and advocate integrative medicine for future care and to mainstream integrative medicine in healthcare services in our country over the course of years, decades, depending upon how fast and how vigorously we work on that. So thank you very much, and I am immensely grateful to both my teachers, Dr. Nagendra ji and Dr. Nagaratna Didi, who have made this change in me to be able to work for integrative medicine and push this agenda to a higher level. Many things have happened in the last 10 years about integrative medicine, about which you will probably hear over the course of our interactions over the course of time. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, BNG sir. You have been our guide, and we are growing day by day. I thank BNG sir for giving the presidential address in absence of Dr. Pratima Murthy, our director, who is detained in Delhi, unfortunately. And now, I request our head of the department, Professor Kishore Kumar R, to kindly give an introduction to the YANTRA conference.
Namaste. Thank you very much, Hemanji, for introducing me, respected elders, gurus, and all my colleagues. I'm here to speak of the proposed conference in the next few days. The acronym of the conference is YANTRA, Yoga and Ayurveda in Neuroscience, Therapeutics and Research Approaches. So this whole concept, the naissance of this concept has also been with the department. And in 2020, we launched the first edition of the conference, wherein we brought together many platforms of yoga, which was existing all over the world under various schools. And it was an effort to see that if everything could be brought together. So the bottom line or the mantra of our department is Ano Bhadraha Kritavo Yantu Vishwataha. So let all the knowledge come from all sides. So this is the first mantra. And the second mantra is the concept of integration, wherein Sushruta has mentioned that Ekam Shastram Adhiyano navidyat shastra nischayam. Please do not be satisfied with only one discipline or science. Ekam shastram madhiyano navidyat shastra nischayam tasmat bahushrutam shastram vijaniyat chikitsakaha. So it is necessary for the chikitsaka to know about all the sciences that might be existing. So with these two mantras, we are going ahead. And after the first edition, now we have Ayurveda, which has got integrated into the department. And with Yoga and Ayurveda, we will be going ahead in November, in the month of November, that is from 23rd to 25th of November, we have planned the YANTRA conference. The theme of this conference is Models of Integration in Healthcare. We have been hearing about integration from quite some time, and now we have been, there have been a lot of news which is coming up in the domain of integration. The government has taken up this issue in a big way, and then many institutes, we were under the impression that government institutes have been doing this, but then we've been getting news from many of the private institutions who are very much interested in integration, and we see this word spreading like never before. So integration is going to be the, the basis of healthcare in future. This is what we are looking at. And NIMHANS, being one of the pioneers in this area, we propose to bring together everyone, or at least people who have worked in this area since some time and have been able to produce some results. So like it might be BHU, Banaras Hindu University, or NIMHANS or AIMS Delhi, and many such institutes we are in touch with. And when we were doing some research on all, some homework on, this area, we found that there are many institutes. One institute is the Institute of Applied Dermatology by Narahari. Dr. Narahari has been doing quite a great work since many years. So in dermatology in Kasargod. So you can know about him, in the Google when we see, and all the work that he has done. So there are many people. So we're trying to bring together most of these people. The idea is to see that fill the treatment gaps from different systems of medicine, especially the Indian systems of medicine, and see that the patient gets benefited at the end. So this conference is going to see many stalwarts in the field addressing us. We are in touch with Dr. Rajesh Kotechaji, Secretary of Ministry of Ayush, Dr. D. Virendra Hegdeji, and Professor Bhalat Chundar from Harvard University has in principle agreed to address us. Dr. R. Balasubramaniam, who's the founder of SVYM and now currently the chairman of Capacity Building Mission of the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister's office. So he has also in principle approved. So, and Dr. L. Mahadevan, who's a stalwart in the field of Ayurveda, he's also, we are in touch with him. So we are expecting the speakers to, attend the conference and make it a success. We are also trying, we have tied up with a student NGO known as Jignasa. And Jignasa has been in the forefront of organizing Ayush conferences since quite some time now. And they have agreed to help us out in this endeavor. So they will also be joining us in this whole endeavor. The Ayush institutions, as well as institutions of modern medicine, we will be approaching, and we will be expecting them to attend the conference. This is about the conference. The conference will also have a pre-conference workshop, which will wherein we are going to focus on publications, research methodology, publishing, as well as protocol writing and these things. And then the 24th and 25th will be the conference. So I, on behalf of the Department of Integrative Medicine and Jignasa, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Please be part of this feast in integrative medicine in the month of November. I thank everyone for this. Especially, I would like to offer my pranams to Guruji and Didi, who have been in the Guru Sthana since a long time in this field. Please accept my pranams. And also my greetings to all the people who have participated here and who are also to undergo the course in integrative medicine in the days to come. Please be part of this movement. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kishore sir, for introducing YANTRA conference to us. Our patrons for the conference, Dr. HR Nagendra and Dr. Nagratna, both are also here. So before we go ahead, I would like to give a brief introduction to the course, that is the certificate course in integrative medicine, and introduce the participants who have joined online. And then we would request Didi and Guruji to release, the YANTRA conference brochure and the website. So I'll just share my slides. Certificate course in integrative medicine. This is a brainchild of Professor BN Gangadhar and Dr. HR Nagendra, who both had a discussion and decided that there should be a platform where doctors from different disciplines of medicine should be able to come together, should be able to interact with each other, and we should be able to develop a new framework for the nation where the patient welfare doesn't matter from which direction it comes, but is the main aim. Now, with this objective, this course was designed, and we had the first batch of this course in 2020. And in that year only, the National Education Policy declared that given that the people exercise pluralistic choices in healthcare, in our education system also there should be integration, because there is a demand from the patients in India, and therefore the modern medicine systems and the traditional systems should interact with each other and learn from each other. So with this vision of synergizing the utilization of modern medicine with Ayush system and vice versa, and the mission of promoting, training, and carrying out research in integrative health with emphasis on holistic health approaches, at all the levels, this course was designed. And the course objective fundamentally are to, give the basic knowledge, create a basic awareness about the concepts and philosophy of different systems of medicine, wellness according to integrative health, diagnostic methods in conventional and Ayush systems, management techniques combining synergistically the modern and Ayush approaches, and discuss the available scientific evidence in integrative medicine. So the eligibility is that it is a unique course. You do not see much of such courses where medical professions from any discipline, can come together. The duration is 6 months and it has 22 credits. There will be, monthly classes, weekly classes, which will be online, and there will be 15 days of offline training, one in SVASA and one in NIMHANS. So this is how we have planned the training and cover different aspects of medicine. Basically, the idea is that we see that in Ayush, currently also in medical systems in India, we see that Ayush systems are there, but they are functioning in silo. There is no proper interaction with the modern medicine. So the patient has to go to a modern medicine physician, yoga physician, Ayurveda physician separately. And that consumes a lot of time, and the patient many a times get confused. In fact, many patients actually hide this information that they are also taking the Ayurvedic medicine, or they are also following another system of medicine with their doctors. So to overcome these kind of barriers, at NIMHANS, what we have done is we have developed a unique model where physicians from different systems actually sit together in the OPD and discuss with the patient. And this is the picture of our OPD, where myself, I am being a yoga consultant, Dr. Bharat, who is a psychiatrist, and Dr. Kishore, who is a professor of Ayurveda. We sit together and we are seeing a patient, and these are the students of the previous batch who are sitting with us, and we are having a discussion about the case from all the domains. And of course, in SVASA, there are systematic, departments which deal with different systems of medicine, and there is both modern and traditional approaches together. It has a more than 500 bedded capacity now to keep patients suffering from several non-communicable disorders together, headed by Dr. Nagratna. So this is the CCIM batch 2. When we, advertised this, we had limitation how many students we can accommodate here, but we got an overwhelming response, especially from the success of the last batch. We received 74 applications, and based on the need and the current clinical scenario in which they will be using these practices, we filtered 38 applications. Others will be given a chance again in the next batch. And the average age of the people who have applied is 28. And of course, in every such course, we are observing that the male-female ratio is almost 2 to 3:1. So the feminine energy is driving the integrative medicine movement in India more. If we see the state representation, of course, Karnataka would be the most common because people from the nearby institutions are joining. But then, surprisingly, I saw a lot of applications coming from Gujarat, then Tamil Nadu, Bihar, Maharashtra, Uttarakhand, Manipur, Telangana, UP, Assam, Kerala, Rajasthan. So there is a varied representation which shows that integrative medicine, is required in all the domain, and there is a demand among doctors. And when we look at the basic medical degree, we see that 60% of the students are from naturopathy and yoga background who have shown interest here. But we also have Ayurveda graduates, MBBS graduates, and homeopathy graduates who are interested. When we looked at their designations, almost, this is very encouraging that 21% of them are actually faculties or consultants, and most of them are from different aims. So we have the HOD of psychiatry from AIIMS Patna here, Dr. Pankaj Kumar. We have Associate Professor of PSM, Dr. Naveen GH, who is from AIIMS Jodhpur. We have Dr. Rachna Parashar, who is a faculty in physiology from AIIMS Bhopal. And we have medical officer joining from AIIMS Rishikesh. So it is really very encouraging that institutes of national importance are now looking forward to learn integrative medicine and establish departments of integrative medicine. We also have 28% medical officers who are from the state government healthcare scenarios and government medical colleges, and research officers. And of course, the another population is interns. So we have given this opportunity to interns also so that they can be sensitized early towards this kind of practice, and 21% are private practitioners. So this is the way we see private practice, private medical college. Private college means private medical college, government medical colleges, and state government institutions and institutes of national importance. So this is how people have participated in this course. This is a quick feedback from the last year. You see people gave very encouraging feedback, and they said that it was very helpful for them in their clinical practice. These small things, especially in modern medicine, we see that we do not give much advice about the pathyas, apathyas, or kind of lifestyle they should follow. And in traditional systems of medicine, the diagnostic procedures that the modern medicine people follow play an important role. So mutual learning took place, and we had faculties joining from Boston, USA, and psychiatrists, and all of them gave a wonderful feedback last time. We had this survey presented during the valedictory, where we asked them at the end of the course, how useful was the course in enhancing your clinical skills. So we see that there were 18 participants, and most of them gave it 7 and above score. Similarly, do you feel that integrative medicine should be encouraged in all medical colleges in India? So everybody, gave a score of 8 and above for this. And would you recommend this course to your friends or colleagues? There also, this was the feedback given by the students. So therefore, I welcome all the students once again to this course. Thank you very much. Now, we would like to, request Dr. HR Nagendra, who is our patron, who has been the guiding force, to kindly address the gathering. And after that, I would request Dr. Nagaratna to address us. And then we are going to release the YANTRA conference and the YANTRA brochure. So over to Guruji, Dr. HR Nagendra.
Namaskar, Dhanyavad. My dear brothers and sisters, we are really very happy and delighted that we are launching the second batch of the CCIM. As Dr. Gangadhar has been emphasizing, a day has come where we have to integrate the different systems, particularly our eye systems has a total approach of human wellness, and bring about prevention of various ailments and to treat different ailments. The whole medical system has become such that we become sick and go to the hospitals and get this thing. Is it the right way? Though we say prevention is better than cure, hardly there is enough budget allotted for these things, and therefore we have been pleading that there should be more budget that has to come up. Unfortunately, when Dr. Harshvardhanji was there as the Minister for Health, he has been able to bring about these things and set up 1.5 lakh wellness centers in the country. Each one of them have been allotted with a budget about 25 to 30 lakhs. That will come to nearly 10 to 15% of the budget in the country. And the whole wellness centers have to be emphasizing on the prevention by lifestyle change. That's the key essence. For that, the yoga teachers, yoga therapists, Ayurveda therapists are all being put into this forum. And similarly, he also brought about the Ayush wings in every aims. So we have been seeing that there have been nice buildings that have come up for the Ayush along with the aims mainstream. And unfortunately, what has happened, as rightly pointed out by Hemant, is that there is no openness among the doctors to accept other dimensions. Therefore, the people who come to the allopathy or the modern medicine, the patients are not allowed to go to the Ayush sector. Therefore, the OPD in most of the Ayush departments have been very, very meager. Where there are 1,000, 2,000 OPDs which are there in the mainstream, hardly there will be 5, 6, 4 or 5 patients that go into the Ayush. Therefore, a paradigm change is needed to make this integration. For that purpose, rightly, Dr. Gangadhar and we all thought that we should open up the minds of all the doctors to accept the other things and to know about it. And that's how this course was planned out, and the certificate course in integrative medicine and later on the diploma in integrative medicines have been planned out. And the whole idea is that people should know how broad is our system that we are having in our country for thousands of years. Many times, Dr. Gangadhar has been telling that the modern system is allopathy, but the ancient system is Indian. But Indian system has been there for thousands of years. Therefore, that should be the mainstream, and allopathy should be the complementary instead of the reverse that we are thinking of. Think of Ayush as complementary to these things. So that shows how we have to look at the human system in its totality. So we have been here in Svyasa, we have been able to bring about this holistic system by bringing the total concept of the Panchakoshas. According to our Upanishads, according to our ancient lore, we are not just the physical body, but we have the Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya, Vijnana, Anandamaya Kosha, as 4 more layers of our existence. A change in one brings a change in the other. And most of these modern NCDs start in the Manomaya Kosha as Adhi and comes down to the physical body and becomes a Vyadhi. Unless we deal with the Adhi, the Vyadhis will get only temporary relief and continues to grow more and more. That's why we have not been able to deal with this modern ailment in totality. So once a diabetic, ever a diabetic. Once you have hypertension, it's for life. Once you have cancer, days are numbered, have come to pass. Why? Because we are not addressing the root cause of the NCDs, non-communicable diseases. Therefore, the whole approach of integrative medicine is to see that we deal with integrative dimension in its all totality, integrated approach of yoga therapy, integrated approach of all systems. And that is what we are going to get exposed to the doctors who are going to joining this course, and they will have all the principles and methods and diagnostic tools and also the research that has been done in various systems. As rightly brought out so nicely by Dr. Hemant, in the syllabus that we have given, you will get exposed to this thing by the experts in these different areas. And we have been endeavoring this thing to bring it into actually a hospital condition by seeing that a patient who comes is looked at from various dimensions, from the allopathy to give immediate relief and to have the symptomatic reliefs, and then yoga, then Ayurveda, naturopathy, physiotherapy, acupuncture, all under one roof to see that they all bring about the total normalization by dealing with the Adhi and the repercussions of the Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnana, Anandamaya koshas, and thereby will be able to deal with this thing. So we make a complete program for the patients who come here from morning 5 o'clock up to night 10 o'clock, so that they will undergo the totality of the treatment modalities. So not only you all will hear the wonderful lectures on various dimensions related to the integrative medicine in this course, you will also undergo the training in the integrative medical setup that has been put up in Nimhans and also in Prashanti Kotiram, where we have called it as Vashi, that is Vasishta School of Health Integration. And here you will get the complete exposure. So they get the practical training and see how the integration is working in these two institutions. And I really congratulate the director of Nimhan and the former director, Dr. Gangadhar, for joining hands with us to see that we bring this integration to more and more doctors and medical professionals who should start emphasizing on the prevention and see that we move towards the holistic vision of wellness to come up. So it should see that we bring about these things in our practical application to the patient. It should not remain only in the research level, but it should come down to practice. And that's what is happening in the country, and also it should happen in all our institutions. Fortunately, this time, AIMS Delhi has come forward, AIMS Rishikesh, Jodhpur, and the Bhopal all have come forward, along with the private institutions like the Devarajas institution and others who have come forward to bring about this integration and start the CCIM to open up the minds of all things to work together as a composite whole, where integrative whole to deal with this multi-challenge things of diseases, non-communicable diseases. These non-communicable diseases are multidimensional. It's not merely physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, with a spiritual basis. They all have this multidimensional thing which had to be dealt with, multidimensional thing. With this, once again, I congratulate all the participants who have joined. I'm sure all of you will be highly enriched with the wonderful talks that will be given and interaction that you are going to have with all the people. I wish all the best to the second batch of participants and to all the faculty who have joined. Namaskar. Dhanyavad.
Next.
Thank you very much, Guruji, for enlightening us, for showing us the way. Now I request Dr. R. Nagaratna to kindly address us. Dr. Nagaratna Didi is my guru. You know, she has taught me yoga therapy, and I bow down to her. And yeah, I seek guidance from her for all of us.
Namaste.
Namaste, Didi.
Very happy to see the big team of integrative medicine staff at Nimhans. It was only Shivramji, Hemant. Now I am seeing the multiplication. Aarti is also there. Friends, it's a great day for all of us who have been dreaming of integrative medicine. Thanks to Dr. BN, who has been at the peak of commitment to push this as much as possible. I congratulate the staff at Nimhans for taking so much interest in promoting this. I take this opportunity to welcome all the students who are going to be participants in this. I hope it will give a vision to all of you as to how we should be moving on with this integration. There are many challenges for integration, particularly when we want to introduce Ayurveda. The first question that everybody asks is there any drug interaction between allopathy medicine and Ayurveda medicine? But you all, as students of the CCIM, will realize Ayurveda is not only medication, it is a lifestyle change. In fact, we are thankful to Dr. Kishore, who has been teaching us non-Ayurveda people the concepts from Ayurveda. A lot of the concepts of yoga are also recommended in Ayurveda for lifestyle change. And we are all going to learn this integrative conceptual basis, which is extremely important. I see large number of doctors who come to us for treatment in our campus with back pain or acidity or asthma or hypertension. And when we talk to them for 10 minutes to say how medical science has proven for 40 years that it is majority of all these conditions are which we have only changed names. We called it psychosomatic disease, then we called it mind-body disease. Now we call it lifestyle disease, but we don't know what is to do with the root cause of the problem. So this is how, when we talk about the relationship between the mind and body, we have enormous information from modern medical research from thousands of laboratories as to how, when we get worked up in our mind, it can disturb the brain, chemistry, release lot of stress chemicals, which disturbs the immune system and produces itis, inflammation in any organ. This pathway we know that the root is also in the mind. But how do we handle this monkey mind? How do we handle this mind? How do we recognize what is happening in my mind? This was a research with which the scientists of Indian knowledge began 5,000 years ago, not 50 years ago. So the whole of this knowledge base, which has understood what is mind, what is happening in my mind, how to recognize, how to understand, how to recognize the relationship between body and the mind, and what is it that connects the mind to the body, is all beautifully explained, a beautiful model. But the greatest contribution are the techniques. One Rishi, one technique, one Rishi, one technique. So 5,000 years of 50,000 Rishis may be giving us several techniques of handling these cases. And I tell you, my dear students and friends, every participant that we see here is an open book for us to learn more and more and more by listening to them, by talking to them, how the mind works on the body, how everything is at the body level, and all this understanding is going to help all of us to move on and make this concept of integration to be promoted in all the institutions, not only in yoga institution, but in the mainstream practice that we are all going to have. Again, on behalf of the team who is working for this, I welcome all of you as students of this ECIM course, and I'll be happy to interact with you when you come to our home, Prashanti Kutiram, for 1 week integrative practical training. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Didi. Very, very insightful talk, for doctors from all the disciplines. The fundamental basis, that the Ayurveda is a lifestyle and can form the basis for integration. Now, the main aspect of the event where we are going to release the YANTRA conference brochure, and we are also going to release our quarterly magazine Samatvam, and release the website for the YANTRA conference. So I will just share the screen. So I request Guruji to kindly click if we can see the screen. I request, yeah. So this is the first brochure of this conference, and we have the whole team, and this is the website yantranimhans.com that we have released now, and I request all the course participants also to kindly look at this website. We will be putting the brochure link into the chat box now, so you can look at it. And actually we plan that the offline training of yours, so all the participants here from the course, can happen during this conference. So before the conference, you can be here at Nimhans, and towards the end of your training, you can also be a part of this conference. So this is what we have planned. And the second thing is about the Samatvam magazine release. So I will just... So this is the release of our quarterly magazine Samatvam. We have been publishing Samatvam magazine for more than a decade now, and this particular magazine always has a theme on which we work, and this time the theme is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, Yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It means yoga for universal well-being. So we will also put the Samatvam PDF into the chat box and share with all the course participants. Thank you very much. So now we have come toward the end of this program. And now, before we end, I would like to request Dr. Anirudh, who is the Joint Secretary of the Jignasa Committee. And I would request Dr. Anirudh, who is collaborating with us during the YANTRA conference, to kindly address us briefly. Kindly unmute Dr. Anirudh.
Namaste to all the dignitaries present here. Myself, Dr. Anirudh, working in Jignasa. Jignasa is a pan-Indian organization working for Ayush students mainly, and to get reforms in the Ayush education system. So we are doing various international and national conferences and various national Arogya expos all over the country. We are very much happy to join our hands along with the prestigious Nimhans Institute for doing this YANTRA program. I hope all the student communities will participate in large numbers and make this event a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anirudh, and thank you so much for collaborating with us. And we hope, that this is going to be a grand event. Now, toward the end of the program, I request the Additional Professor of Psychiatric Social Work, Dr. Aarti Jagannathan, to kindly give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Hemant. At the end of today's session, it's the beginning that I would say for a long journey for all the certificate course students who have joined today. And to make this vision possible, the two people who have ideated and implemented this idea, our very own Guruji, Dr. H.R. Nagendra. Thank you so much, Guruji, for being with us all through and supporting us in all our endeavors and all our plans. Really a heartfelt gratitude to you for being present today and for being with the students and with all of us during the entire course. Also like to thank our mentor, Dr. BN Gangadhar. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. He's come down all the way from Delhi to be with us for this inaugural function physically. We really thank you, sir, for being with us today. Didi, thank you so much for joining in spite of your busy schedule in Arogya Dhama, and for giving us your insights on integration, the true integration between medicine and integrative medicine. We really appreciate, and I'm sure that each of the students would be looking forward to their posting in SVYASA and being mentored by you and learning from you in Arodhya Dhama. Thank you very much for being a part of today's inaugural session. I'd like to thank our director, who unfortunately has been held up in Delhi, but Pratima ma'am was very keen to be with us today. However, due to prior appointments, she has not been able to be with us today. I share my sincere gratitude to Dr. Pratima Murthy for being our support. Madam was part of the first inauguration that happened for the certificate course last time, and she was very, very encouraging of the entire course. I thank Madam for wholeheartedly supporting this program. I also thank the Department of Integrative Medicine who have been conducting this entire course. Last time and this time, the entire team has been involved, and you will meet each one of them, the students, and interact with them to get to know their experiences of working in this field. Want to thank the Jignasa team, who's been our partners for the YANTRA conference, for putting together the brochure as well as the website in record-breaking time. I'm sure that they're going to be with us all through till the conference commences in November. Our sincere gratitude to the Jignasa team for being a part of today's event. I would also like to thank all the students who have joined in from various parts of the country. Attending any course and committing to any course is a big task on its own. And the fact that you're interested in being part of this course and you've committed and registered for it for a 6-month period is something that we need to give you kudos for. I would congratulate you for joining this, and I would also expect you to be part of the course at the end of 6 months when we complete the feedback. And I'm sure you would be successfully completing the same. I'd like to also thank our biomedical engineering team. Chandru is here, who's helped in setting up the whole thing, and the NIMHANS administration for helping us in conducting the second batch launch. Of course, the SVYASA team, the back team who will be helping you for the practical sessions, and all the other people who have been involved directly or indirectly for this program. My sincere gratitude to all of them, and best wishes to the new students for the new start for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Aarti Jagannathan, for giving such a wonderful vote of thanks. So we have come to the end of this program. Let us end it with Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. And I request students to remain there, because after this you are going to have the first class by Dr. BN, and you are going to have the class from Dr. HR Nagendra and Dr. R Nagaratna also in the subsequent weeks. So I believe that you are very lucky. So please be here. Let us end the session. Namaskar. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhavate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Today I need the game.
Yes.
Should I come there? Okay, this is the first among the series of talks that you will be exposed to. This brief introduction, I'll be alluding to what is integrative medicine and what is the way forward in this agenda. And I thank the group here for letting me join all of you. and share.
We'll make you co-host.
So, pranams to Goddess Saraswati, who gave this wisdom to all of us, to me in particular, be able to share those thoughts of learning integrative medicine. And this talk is from the Department of Integrative Medicine. We are sitting in the yoga services here. And I thank each one of you and the organization for having called me. And this is the email address. And those of you who want to send any queries later on may note down this email address. And these slides, of course, are available for subsequent consumption with all the participants in the training program. Like was said earlier, the national education policy has accepted that pluralistic and complementary approach in healthcare is a rule than exception. And we understand that and we have accepted that as well. So having said this, this shloka was said by Professor Kishore Kumar that we believe to be able to most effectively function as a professional, we have to borrow the knowledge from several fields rather than depending upon the knowledge from just one field. So having heard this, this was said by none other than Sushruta in the Sushruta Samhita, which means even then, close to 2,500 years ago, this thought of having to assimilate, integrate all knowledge for the welfare of human well-being is practiced in this land, and we believe we have to continue this tradition. Of course, this is the translation of this shloka, and this gives us a framework of how we are going about in this integrative medicine. Now coming to various definitions of integrative medicine. We know that the World Health Organization referred to health as not just absence of a disease, but a well-being and harmonious existence of well-being, physical, psychological, social life as well. In fact, though they did not use the integral health, the Aurobindo Society and Aurobindo himself propagated the word integral, referring to integral health in particular here, which is again bringing into harmony physical, emotional, vital energies, the mind, with the innermost self, the soul, the spiritual. Although the spiritual has been said many millennia ago, when we are talking about health, not many actually have in the modern day tried to include spiritual health as a part of well-being of health. Although the World Health Organization made an attempt, but that for some reason or other has not been taken forward. So any harmony which is disturbed leads to disease. This is integral health. But when it comes to calling integrative medicine, there are many terms which have come forward. Although from time immemorial, healthcare was an integrative approach. Like I referred to that shloka, which is a set of knowledge, skills from various sources put together for the well-being of the individual. But for some reason or other, once the modern medicine took the center of the stage activity, all other things which were existing earlier were referred to with different names. We call them complementary medicine. We said alternative medicines, mind-body medicine, lifestyle medicine, traditional medicine, functional medicine, and words. Although each one claims that there is a small difference in the way they define their system, but they all have some blurred margins, and we believe that these are all perhaps alluding to the same concept of using traditional systems for the comprehensive well-being of the individual. So terms are going on, more and more terms are cropping up each day. There are certificate courses in each of these that have been started. However, I want to draw your attention to the concept of integrative medicine, and some use this word integrated medicine as well. But I believe I endorse the view that medicine, when practiced, is itself an integrative medicine. There is no need to repeat integrative into our health practice, medicine practice. So if that can be achieved, medicine is integrative medicine, we probably have achieved what we wanted to achieve. Maybe this would happen in the days to come. And in fact, on this concept, the Integrative Medicine Department wrote an editorial saying that how multiple systems come together, whether in a formal way or an informal way, for obtaining the best holistic wellness in a given subject. And this is, of course, the practice of medicine. And so we, at that time, titled Integrative Medicine as Medicine. This editorial came very recently in a journal, and I am, of course, giving the reference to it for those who may want to read more about it. And going back, Ayurveda also defines health as a set of wellnesses which come from many processes and many systems within ourselves. And those who are from the Ayurveda group here are already familiar. And in fact, Ayurveda goes on not just about physical, mental, it also talks about the spiritual wellness as well. Prasannatmendriya manaha swastya iti abhidhiyate. So the definition in Ayurveda is itself the integral health. So the word integral health and integrative approach comes from the tradition of this land. I think we are duty bound to continue its legacy and build on it for the welfare of the public. So we will look at how this integrative medicine as a concept started evolving across the world. The National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine, a administrative setup in health developed at the United States of America, made a big move some years back and to promote research in complementary and alternative medicine. They included, of course, many other things, not just the Ayurveda, yoga, here what we are referring to today, but also Chinese medicine and a host of other medicine, lifestyle, all the list that you saw in the earlier one. So this they refer to as the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine. And soon they realized that this may not refer to or reflect the best message of what we intended to do in the process. So they changed the name as the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. Ready?
Little bit accent, sir. The charger has to come. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. So, so the complementary and alternative medicine soon took a different avatar, complementary and integrative health. So integrative health and integrative medicine have now come to stay, and I think we need to ensure that these are expanded. And integrative medicine, as I have referred to earlier, is itself a medicine, is an approach which employs multiple specialities, multiple professional skills for the well-being of a given individual, and not just as merely complementary. Complementary would refer to as we would be closer to what we may be referring to as integrated health, integrated medicine. That is, multiple systems are available. The person can choose for symptom A, one can health system, symptom B, another health system, depending upon his or her choice, or we can perhaps refer to him for this or that condition. But then it is not a cohesive, coherent, integrative approach to the healthcare for this given individual. Maybe symptom relief for which different parts are integrated under one roof. I will be referring to that co-localization little later. So coming back to the definition of integrative medicine is the application of different. I have used the word culturally sensitive. Why I'm saying this culturally sensitive is there are many systems which are culturally ingrained into our day-to-day practice. And so any system we're introducing should also blend with the cultural concepts of a given community. And so culturally sensitive would ensure that its adaptability across different cultures. So culturally sensitive healthcare approaches optimally tailored to a given patient's needs and difficulties. So it specifically says a given individual. We are treating a person or we're helping a person, not just a person's disease, not just correcting a diseased organ, not even merely correcting a laboratory abnormality, HRV getting better, or the blood pressure coming under control. It's not that. We are looking into a given patient's overall needs and difficulties using culturally sensitive healthcare approaches. And this, in my contention, is a definition of the integrative medicine. So we want to expand this is an evidence-based blend of traditional and modern medicine. A little more details into this, not merely a sentimental statement about culturally sensitive, but I think we need to be also scientific and objective. So these has to be a integrative medicine is an evidence-based blend of traditional and modern medicine with optimal use as a combination or as monotherapy, but offered as a single window service for the best benefits in a given individual's condition, preferably as a mainstream healthcare service. So the mainstream healthcare service ought to be a single window, integrative medicine approach based service. So if this can be achieved, I think we have made a beginning, and the course what you are going through is a very tiny step in this direction. And I think over course of time, as and more people get into this course, this will slowly snowball into a critical mass when the demand from the public and the professionals training components also will include integrative healthcare approaches, and that is integrative medicine as a mainstream healthcare service. So we went on to talk about it, publicize it, build a advocacy for this, as part of this endeavor, we also wrote in a very prestigious journal, Current Science, published from the Indian Institute of Science, why and how we should focus our efforts on mainstreaming integrative medicine into modern healthcare. We went on to talk about it for those of you. This is released just a few weeks ago, and for those who are interested, this reference is given. At this point of time, I may not be able to share the article itself. I don't have it here, but nonetheless, this is available online, I believe, and people can read it and benefit from more definitions and more practical suggestions how to mainstream integrative medicine into modern health. So, well, doing that, as I have said in the previous slide, we have to build substantial evidence. And today, thanks to so many researchers, both from Ayush groups of researchers and researchers in modern medicine who have either worked independently or worked together, have been able to demonstrate that integrative approaches, or for that matter, traditional approaches, have been producing substantial clinical outcome, not just clinical outcome, supported also by different biological markers, which have shown the way that integrating them in current clinical practice is not just possible, is also very helpful to the individual. And it is not that the individual is saying so because he or she or simply want to please the doctor, but the evidence is demonstrable from a biological marker perspective that their body is actually also showing changes to these treatment approaches with integrative components as well. We also have to endeavor in developing standards of each of the ingredients which will go into the integrative approach, integrative medicine, and standards are slowly evolving, and not just medicine standards for the Ayurveda preparations, but also the procedural standards for various applications, both in Ayurveda and also in yoga. For example, modules of yoga therapy have been standardized, tested, feasibility is examined into its application, and more such protocols are becoming standardized, and their demonstration of efficacy has come from research studies people have made it. So the standards of each of these applications is a eye-opener to even the policymakers to be able to recommend these integrations into mainstream healthcare service. Dr. Shivram mentioned about data on safety. How safe are some of the medicines given when an individual is also using, if he or she is using many of the traditional systems of medicine. As you know, it is not just medicine prescribed by the Ayurvedic Vaidyas or the Siddha Vaidyas, but it is also a lot of home care changes in their dietary and other practices, and home care remedies which people would be using, which has come to stay, which is different from their routine dietary intake. This could well be happening. And so a host of a range of both formal and informal traditional applications could be going on in many people, even when they have reached the standard modern medicine healthcare services and also seeking healthcare from them. As was said, it's also possible that they may think it is taken for granted that it have to be used, and so they don't have to mention this to the doctor. Not that it is they're purposefully hiding, but it is just that their routine practices are getting better, and that need not be necessarily mentioned. And that is the case when they're using those things, unaware of the fact that they're using these other interventions. In a routine scenario, we as modern medicine doctors, we prescribe some medicine, and we perhaps see some unexpected side effects which were not seen earlier. So this concern of data safety or the intervention safety is something that we need to be talking about. So the entire data on safety has to be built. We already have some of the papers coming up from the Integrative Medicine Department here, published already, and more on the annual. And more data collection on the safety is something that all of us have to do with conscious application of mind, asking every of our clients, what are you using for getting rid of your own symptoms? Don't say that it was not prescribed by the doctor, that it was prescribed by your grandmother. Even then, you please let us know what are the things that you have been using as a change or as an intake for getting your symptoms better. And of course, I'm prescribing these medicines. I want to keep asking you if there were any side effects, which I did not earlier see with this medicine. I want to record that. So this data on safety has to be compiled over the course of time to ensure what is the safe methods to integrate these systems, whether a system should be integrated in such a way that we start with method X and then introduce method Y when it's failing, or use both methods X and Y together, or go on to demonstrate that X was better than Y or Y is better than X. This work of how to integrate, keeping in mind both the therapeutic outcome and the mitigating the side effects. Keeping both in mind, methods to integrate has to be developed, and appropriate human resource generation is equally important. And the first step is made by all of you coming into this CCIM course. You are the human resource who will carry that knowledge of multiple systems together with you in your brain. I'm going to be using which is the best for this given individual. Is the system that I am practicing has to be used, or some other system? If some other system, do I have enough training to use some of those skills up to a level? And if it is not, I don't have, and I'm not confident, and I'm not supposed to be using that, would I recommend for this given individual a better system than what I am using? And at some point of time or course of time, these skills will slowly build into our clinical practice, and the human resource myself will increase as the resources within yourself would increase. But at the same time, more and more medical doctors need to embrace integrative medicine. How do we do that? Is a challenge that we need to work on. So if you do a SWOT analysis of the entire integrative medicine, I'm repeating what I have said in the earlier slides, just for the sake of completion. We have sound evidence of individual traditional treatments for different conditions. There is some research that is available. What we still don't know well is which is better than the other, traditional or the conventional ones, that is the modern medicine, or is the combination better than these two? This work hasn't really made much dent, and this is one weakness before we go on to apply the integrative medicine in clinical practice. But once you open the avenues for integrative medicine approaches, be assured that you have a host of interdisciplinary research collaborations that are possible, and more light can be thrown on what is best for a given individual who is receiving help from our conditions. But what are the threats? Like I already mentioned, drug interactions, for which at this point of time, we could slowly build data and on safety and then go on to mitigate that threat. Costs. In the today's condition, we have ensured for some reason or other, different health systems as different regulatory mechanisms, different training mechanisms, different colleges, different ministries, different departments for each of these things. Having done this, for each of these specialties, each of these approaches, we have made different professionals. Getting multiple professionals hired for a given individual treatment would obviously increase the costs. Obviously, if you have an Ayurvedic and a allopathic drug, both have to be written to the individual. When otherwise only one was being written, although the combination would be beneficial, costs would obviously increase. Here it is, we need to look at how to ensure that the costs do not escalate. And actually, costs should actually be coming down with the integrative approach. If we can achieve that, perhaps we have ensured success in advocating integrative medicine. So just a few examples of how we are able to demonstrate that the person gets better and the body also actually recuperates, corrects itself. Here is one example of how the brain produces more of a neurotransmitter following yoga, which is conducive to getting his depression better. One of the neurotransmitters here is GABA, which increases. Of course, this is a very highly sophisticated research that was possible elsewhere. And there are other methods to examine the same thing. For example, here, pre and post yoga, the GABA signal in the brain went on to increase. So yoga intervention in people who are concurrently receiving antidepressant therapy produces a biological change, which of course also was conducive to getting them better from depression as well. Similarly, at NIMHANS, people have demonstrated that in people suffering from depression, this GABA is lower than healthy subjects. And you give them yoga, what happens is from a lower level of their GABA activity, they start inching towards the healthier levels. And of course, this is just a 1 week study demonstrating this change using another mechanism, another method of demonstrating the GABA effect. The same change did not happen when the individuals were allocated to either no intervention or mere walking. The two green bars, pre and post, there was no difference. Walking vis-a-vis pre and post yoga produced a difference. So point I'm trying to say is evidence is building and people are publishing, and on a day-to-day basis, we keep seeing articles to this effect. Even brain circuits start becoming cohesive, coherent. As you can see here, the yellowness in the areas where the brain circuits have become very coherent in an individual who went on to do yoga for getting his condition schizophrenia better. The person got better, and concurrently we were also able to demonstrate both in the parietal area of the brain and also in the frontal area of the brain, the connectivity got better. This connectivity getting better is something that we always say that huge yoga connects, and of course it connects within as well and make me better. I have to keep these examples from yoga and mental health, because that's the place, that's what I have been trained in. And over the course of subsequent lectures, you will hear these applications in many other physical conditions and with many other applications as well. I'm sure your learning would get even better. So demonstrating evidence showing that this coherence improves with yoga, the green bar pre and post yoga. And they also went on to get better in specific symptoms of what we call as negative symptoms. And the symptom reduction was also related to better coherence that they achieved over the course of time. And of course, some other symptom did not get better. That's a different issue. But there was a significant change in this person that happened. This is a clinical trial that has been recently completed. Soon we'll be seeing it in publication as well. There are many other conditions and other systems of intervention which we have to consider when we are talking of integrative medicine. I'm giving some examples. This is not an end in itself. All these things are referred to as the non-communicable diseases, diabetes, hypertension, cardiological diseases, oncology, migraine, neurological disorders, and the list is quite comprehensive. It is available in many of these conditions. Benefits of the integrative approaches have now started coming through. Thanks to various funding agencies and the current health department, both the main health department and the Ayush department promoting collaborative research in a scientific way. Of course, we have the Ayush systems, the Ayurveda, Unani, acupuncture, Rigpa, in addition to what I have already talked about yoga in the earlier slides. So there are multiple interventions that are possible, and people are looking into many other traditional interventions which do not or may not have had this formal shape. In this country, many of the traditional systems have been given a formal shape, and conditions and systems, more and more systems would probably benefit, patients would benefit from these integrations. And so not just medicines, physical procedures, we have also demonstrated that some of the counseling methods could be drawn from our traditional texts. For example, here, yoga, Patanjali's yoga practices, which could perhaps influence substantially the counseling processes and the psychotherapeutic approaches which we use in psychiatry. And we recently also demonstrated that Ramayana can teach us good amount of psychological counseling techniques, and we could benefit from that. Of course, not to miss the most important one, the mother of all psychotherapies, the Bhagavad Gita, which of course has been included not just for psychiatric treatment, but there are people from endocrinology and diabetology and other conditions also talking about Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual way of life, making the conditions better. I am right now not alluding to that, but just to introduce not just the physical components of interventions, but also the culturally relevant psychotherapeutic and even spiritual components would have a big bearing on getting a overall outcome in these integrative health approaches, which I'm sure we have to manualize, standardize, and start putting them to use. So in summary, we have take-home message is there is substantial evidence that is coming up with respect to the usefulness of traditional medicine by research, which is coming in both national and international journals. There is a good amount of popularity that is building into using integrative approaches, and no wonder the government of India is already considering all the aims to start integrative medicine departments. And in fact, they have provided an Ayush wing of both building and some staff in all the new aims medical colleges, close to 20 of them, of which more than 15 of them already are working on this area. And this would probably set a good example of more modern medicine people to embrace integrative medicine. And so also the collaboration that is going to happen between the people. Integrative approaches are now being offered, not merely co-localization of clinics from Ayurveda, clinics from yoga. I think they are working together, and more integrative research is going to come out in the days to come. This amount of encouragement to integrative health perhaps never came in the last 70, 75 years of our independence. And thanks to all the administrative heads and the ministries who have made this possible and send the message very clearly that there is a need to develop and promote integrative approach in healthcare. And of course, like I already said, there is a substantial encouragement from health departments, which I said already. What is the key to success is remaining open-minded in our approaches, whether we are from the Ayush group or we are from the allopathic group. We need to keep our ears and eyes open, keep our antennae up to look at what are all the benefits that people are getting from X, Y, Z approaches, and how can I blend them into my practice, learn more about it. This open-mindedness of collecting evidence and putting it into use has to happen. Of course, many regulatory provisions have to come up from the government, which I'm sure the public have to demand, the medical professions have to demand, and then the government would probably have to do it before anyway. So without any choice anyway. So what I am saying is one of the important successes is keeping our mind open without any bias, addressing all the approaches with an open heart and seeing how much the patient, my patient, would benefit from. And last point is everything depends on the mutual trust between colleagues, the regards that we have for each other, and how single-mindedly we should work on integration, lose our identity, and that we should become we. That is a spiritual cohesion. And if that happens, integrative medicine would succeed. So all our attempts should be for integration, promoting integrative medicine rather than promoting my own medicine. Integrative medicine is the medicine. I once again thank Saraswati, and I thank each one of you. Once again, to remind you and thank you, the email address is here. Those of you who want to write to me can use this email and write to me back. I thank the organizers for calling me. Wish you all the best, and I'm sure 6 months course, 6 months, right? Course is going to make you a different professional, at least in your attitude, if not in your entirety of skills, and that would be what we would expect to happen. And if that happens, I think the course has shown a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, BNG sir. A very insightful presentation on the very idea of integrative medicine. Now is the time for our students, to come up and ask some questions to BNG sir. It is a very unique opportunity. So those who want to ask question may kindly raise their hand, and we will unmute them, and then they can ask. Or you can put in the chat box if you.
Somebody has removed the. Yeah, you can unmute and then go ahead and put your questions across.
So, thank you so much for enlightening us on this integrative medicine, the basics. Really,
introduce yourself, sir, first. Kindly introduce. Yes.
Sir, I'm Dr. Naveen KH. I'm currently working in AIMS Jodhpur in the Department of Community Medicine and Family Medicine as Associate Professor. So it's really, I'm in high spirits joining this course and listening to you, as well as in future classes by Guruji. So I am a person who is open to this integrative medicine, and I can understand from different perspectives. However, I see on various social medias, there are few hardcore persons who are totally against this system of integration, and they quote this as pseudoscience and all. So these are the real challenges in future as we march ahead in this journey. But definitely, as a team, we can work on this and generate suitable evidence which can tackle such issues, as well as place ourselves in a better position in the era of integrative medicine. So that's what I just wanted to convey, sir. And thank you so much. So I think we are seeing all your decadal efforts coming to fruition in developing this integrative medicine. Thank you so much. And we'll progress in this journey.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Dr. Anagha.
Namaste, sir. I'm Dr. Anagha. I'm practicing in Mysore. I'm a naturopathy and yoga physician. So I just had one question for you, sir. This was really a wonderful session. So I was very excited to join this course. And sir, you mentioned that it is very important to standardize all the especially even the traditional treatments that protocols that we give for patients. But especially when we go for alternative or the Ayush system of medicine, isn't it very personalized to treat each patient? And like, in what way can we bring up a common protocol that will help in treating mass people?
Yeah, before I go on to answer this, if I can appeal to the question, put the question back to any of the members in the audience, any of you can hear your thoughts on this. Any one of you come up with a response for this?
Can you please repeat, madam?
What she says, sir, is that I emphasized on standardization of the approaches. She says that the approaches in some of the traditional medicine are so individualized, person-specific. Would standardization weaken the benefits in the process? Is that right, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Anybody want to reflect on this?
I feel it won't reduce its importance, because again, when you look back into Ayurveda, the Prakriti, or different gunas, there are set of people who will manifest some kind of features. Possibly that evidence is lacking as of now, but in future, definitely that aspect will be taken care, and these specific categories of people will have different set of the treatment modalities from either from Ayurveda or Siddha or specific yoga therapies. So that standardization needs time, and definitely it will not reduce the importance. Yes, we understand that each individual, as per the our knowledge, Vedic knowledge, each individual is unique with their own set of karma and all those aspects. Considering all those things, definitely yoga, Ayurveda, as well as Siddha definitely will give us greater insights. And yes, there will be certain aspects which are highly individualized, but definitely standardization will help in future. So there is some lack of knowledge. That's where our modern research may take this evidence to a next level.
Good evening, sir. Can I add, sir? Can I add?
Kindly introduce Parag, sir.
Yes, sir. Dr. Parag Melvanki from Dharwad. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, consultant in Dharwad, practicing from the last 30 years. And I feel the definitions of different things in Ayurveda and allopathy and naturopathy have to be first formed. So the language which we all use, the different systems, have to be learned by other systems also. So the terminologies have to be defined. Unless we define the terminologies like physics or chemistry or mathematics, where we all talk the same language, if the terminologies differ, then it becomes difficult to standardize things.
Yes, Parag sir, I think this is very insightful. Anybody else? Yes. What is your name, madam? Sivapta Foundation. Please log in by your name and introduce yourself.
Hello, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
First of all, thank you for this opportunity, and this was a very wonderful session. My name is Dr. Janvi Mishra, and right now I'm working in Delhi. I'm a BNY's graduate from Banaras Hindu University. And actually, I have raised my hand for the question, not to give the answer.
Yes.
But as you have asked this question, so what my suggestion is, or what I would like to say is that as a different system has their merits and demerits. So by calculating the merits of all the system, either it's yoga, naturopathy, modern medicine, and Ayurveda, they have all their benefits. So we should just calculate all the benefits and we should just extract all the benefits from all the systems and then we can approach to the patient. Then it's going to be very beneficial for the patient because this is for the benefits of their health. So it's going to be very wonderful integrative medicine because the approach is to combine all the medicine in one way. So this is going to be very wonderful. And my question was that after completing this session of 6 month duration, how this session is going to be a very useful for us, like in how we can use this in a practical manner. So this was my question.
So now two questions.
Maybe, yeah. One question is standardization. When I was referring to, I think we should see it in a different perspective. I don't want you to take the message that our medicines or our traditional approaches are not standard. I don't think that is the message that I wanted to convey at all. But what I'm saying is when it comes to applications in research, to be able to replicate from place to place, there are some procedural standardizations of each of the application which we perhaps have to go on record. It does not remove the need for personalization of these interventions. No way. Individual practitioners, of course, have to know the person whom they are treating better and personalize the treatment. But nonetheless, when it comes to research and defining a given approach, a uniform standard, if it is developed in all systems of medicine, not just traditional, but in other systems of medicine as well, is going to be a great boon in terms of replicating findings and making the evidence to build over the course of time. The second question she asked me was, the course here, what will happen at the end of the course? I think that's precisely what I said in the introduction, also in this, in the inaugurating and this. Number one, you would perhaps pick up some skills of different approaches, which is perhaps doable. It's not all skills. There'll be some threshold up to which perhaps some skills you will pick it up. Depending upon your confidence level, you may want to use it. Number one. Number two, what is mostly beneficial in the process is that you will perhaps understand the benefits of other systems which you would perhaps not be always exposed to in the training that you would have undergone. And for this given individual, would other systems be better than my system is something that you would perhaps be able to see in a global way for that given individual. So these two benefits would occur, and over course of time, what the seed that you have sown as part of this training would perhaps go on to build itself into a larger approach, which you will take openness, collecting data, looking at benefits from other systems, and perhaps evolve yourself as a more holistic physician, not necessarily at this point of time by reasons of regulatory framework that we have. That is a condition, the law of the land. We will perhaps not be able to recommend that you use all systems that are available because each one is administered in different regulations. But to the extent that is possible, some of the very simple, what we call over-the-counter approaches of all these other systems, yes, you could perhaps titrate where it will blend with your treatment. Plus, of course, see for a given individual, would my system be the best or other systems could also be recommended. For the time being, it will not be a one window system that will be available, but perhaps a one window approach which will be initiated in the system. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other points that you want to bring up?
I think, sir, it is better to start with the safest approaches because it is better to do no harm to the patient. Rather, even if you can't treat him, we should not do more harm. That is what our teachers used to say in surgery. So the safest approaches are the best initially. And secondly, we have to have different levels. Level 1 integration is only yoga and allopathy maybe. Second level may be Ayurveda, yoga and allopathy. And third level may be another third system or fourth system. Slowly we go on adding. So it becomes easier for us to have different levels of integration. Initially, now we have three systems together: yoga, Ayurveda, and allopathy. But all said and done, I think food is the best thing. If we have modifications in food, I think most of the diseases, 90% of diseases, can be cured only with food. So, food and sleep, as Bhagavad Gita says, these two, Ahar and Nidra, I think these two will cover most of the diseases. So, I think that is a better approach initially.
I think you, by your experience, you made the right point. I'm sure this is the take-home message at the end of the course. We have to perhaps organize the entire integration into different steps. The final culmination of the single integrative medicine, which would perhaps emerge. Although right now it looks utopian, but I seeing the last 20 years, I'm sure this is going to be happening at some point.
Yes, sir. Most of the doctors whom I talk, my colleagues, my friends, they say we understand everything, all this, but we cannot change our habits. So that is the most difficult, crucial part of this integration.
So, having said this, having realized that integration has to start before habits, die-hard habits come up, we have introduced two things in the National Medical Commission. My colleague in the UG board has made two important changes, three important changes actually. One of them is all medical students or all colleges have to participate in the International Yoga Day, which means they will get a feeling, get a sense of ability to appreciate the benefits of yoga. This is number one. Second thing is we have in an MBBS internship, which is a 1 month internship. It's a 1 year internship, of which 1 month used to be called as an elective posting. The students would take different subjects. They may work in physical medicine and rehabilitation. They want to get an observation in cardiac surgery, hepatology, which usually are not taught in the routine MBBS course. They may want to get an exposure into these things more because they want to see whether that interests them or they are interested in them, and so on and so forth. So among the list of multiple legitimized specialities into which one person can get exposed in internship, Ayush is also introduced, which means a person, if that college has Ayush systems of approaches, can opt as part of his internship or her internship legitimately to get an exposure into this condition. This is the second step that has been introduced. Very, very tiny, but still a positive step. The third step is all medical colleges ought to set up what is called as a integrative medicine research units or departments, where depending upon what is the strength of the subjects that they can have. So these three perhaps are the important steps in orienting allopathic doctors to integrative medicine. And I'm sure this change, like you say, the die-hard condition will start changing. And we don't know whether in our generation we will see the entire fruit, but I'm sure I'm already seeing some fruits already. But how much faster we can make it depends upon more collaborative work. Thank you so much.
The pandemic has been a blessing in disguise for integration, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are right. You are right. Okay. So with this, maybe we should close this session. Any other comments?
There is one student, sir. Last question by Dr. Shravanti KS before we end the meeting.
Anybody has raised their hand?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Namaste. I'm Dr. Shravanti. I'm a private practitioner from Bangalore. My question is, the integrative medicine is always a beneficial to patient because we pick the best treatment out of all the medicine or all the systems and give it to patient. But in practitioner's perspective, is it anything wrong that when there is a particular case or particular disease, we take the best medicine or from the best system and we advocate to the patient? But is there a drawback to one particular system? I'm a naturopathy practitioner. If I find, okay, my system is not giving a best result, and I'll take this, I'll take the treatment from other system and advocate to the patient. Don't you? I personally feel that somewhere I'm not trying to explore much in my own field and trying to inculcate the integrative medicinal part. So somewhere I may feel that, okay, this is not, my system is not doing justice, so I'm gonna practice integrative medicine. Then maybe somewhere we are not exactly digging deep into our own system when it comes to naturopathy or Ayurveda, any system. So don't you think that is a drawback to that one particular system, sir? I don't know whether it is a right question to ask. That is what I always feel.
No, it's not the right question, madam. I think you are giving the best of all systems to a given individual, number one. So every system has some limitations in some areas. If you are consciously aware of some areas where there are limitations, and you know that there are positive, better things elsewhere, recommending such would still be a good idea. I have benefited from this, what we may call as humble learning, that there are many limitations in allopathic system wherein I can draw upon Ayurveda or yoga, and the patients have obtained much better outcomes. So it does not mean that I'm stopping any research into that area. That keeps going on. There are so many researchers that are doing it. You, of course, also can continue to do the research. But at that time of application, you perhaps have to give the best that is available to the individual. And to know where is this best available is also a bank of knowledge you have to perhaps, over a course of time, by your experience, by your seeing patients, have to start building it in your own bank. So I totally agree with you that we should never stop searching for truth in our own systems of treatment.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
So with this, we come to the conclusion of today's program. And I thank all the participants once again, for showing interest in this area, for joining us. Next class will be on next Friday at 4:15 p.m. when Dr. H.R. Nagendra is going to give us a lecture. And we will also have many more interactions. In the coming week, in this time, I will share some material with you, which please read. And we are going to have a MCQ test on the material that I sent as the first thing in the next class. And then the class will begin. So please wait for my email. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Namaste.